We're going to have a recipe tonight. First, we're going to have a story. Before the story, we're going to have one of our joke songs.
I just want to mention first, we have a very special guest tonight. Has been with us many times before, but Gedalia from the amazing band Chillant. It's a big honor to have you here, Gedalia. Representing all of Chillant. Go ahead.
Okay. One of the first blessings we say in the morning is we bless Hashem, that He gives the rooster the understanding to separate between day and night. The previous Rebbe asked a question, what are you talking about? A rooster understands how to separate day from night? Doesn't really make sense. And he explains that the rooster, the inner level of this rooster, is the angel Gabriel, who goes into paradise, into Gan Eden at midnight, to wake up the souls there, to wake them up, because the Shekhinah enters Gan Eden at midnight to enjoy with the neshamas. So they have to be woken up, and they're woken up by this angel Gabriel, and it comes down to our physical world as the rooster that wakes up the world in the morning. And that's the joke song that I have.
Mitzalel! I must not be a rooster, because I can't tell the difference between day and night.
You don't understand how to separate between day and night. And I just want to give thanks to our friend Leadbelly, who came up with some of the lyrics for the song. And it goes like this. The Shekhinah, the presence of Hashem, comes into Gan Eden at midnight, and that angel Gabriel wakes up the souls. Let the midnight special,
let the midnight special
shine a light on me.
Shine a light on me.
Let the midnight special shine an ever-loving light on me. When I wake up in the morning,
wake up in the morning,
I say Modeh Ani. Thank you for the Shema, that you give to me. Let the midnight special,
let the midnight special
shine a light on me.
Shine a light on me.
Let the midnight special,
let the midnight special
shine an ever-loving light on me. You return it in mercy,
return it in mercy,
faithful King.
faithful King.
We don't have to ask or deserve a thing. Let the midnight special, Shine an ever-loving light on me. Now come on, children.
Come on, children.
We're gonna have some fun.
We're gonna have some fun.
You ain't seen nothing like the Holy One. Tell me how long?
How long?
Do I have to wait? Can I get Mashiach now? Or must I hesitate? Hi, everybody. We're going to have a recipe, but first we're going to have a story. And the story continues the thought from the song, from I offer thanks to Hashem. The first thing we say when we wake up in the morning, and if you didn't do it this morning, do it when you wake up in the morning. You say these words, here they are in English. I offer thanks to you, living and eternal King, for you have restored my soul to me with mercy. Great is your faithfulness. That's Modeh ani lefonecho, melech chai v'kayom, shechazarta bi nishmosi, v'chem lo rabba amonosecho. Good morning. The previous Rebbe, by the way, I'm going to ask Mendel to put in the caption for the show our email address. And anybody who wants to have the weekly stories, email to them. Just email us and put in the subject story. And we'll make sure you get in the list for the stories. The previous Rebbe related a conversation between two sons, between his father, the Rebbe Rashab, and his brother, who was called the Razah. The brother was 11 years old, and the Rebbe Rashab was 9 years old. The older brother, the 11-year-old Razah, asked the younger Sholem Bear, explain why there is a dot after the word in mercy in Modeh ani. There's no other punctuation, but after the word mercy, there's a dot. And he asked him, why is that dot there? The Rashab, the 9-year-old kid, answered, that dot is the symbolic vessel which contains the whole idea that Hashem returns our Jewish soul to us every day with great mercy. That dot is the essence of the Jewish soul that Hashem gives us every morning. The older brother said, so if Hashem gives it to us, why do we have to pray every day? Why do we need to daven? We have everything already. The younger brother, the Rebbe Rashab, explained the dot symbolizes the essence of the soul in the heart of every Jew. And the whole function and the essence of the dot is to spread it out through the daily prayers until it becomes revealed in all the limbs of the body, and from that becomes revealed in the world. This can be seen by the fact that the word in mercy occurs later on in prayers. It's not just in Modeh ani. The word mercy is later on where it says, your love is everlasting. But over there where it says in mercy, there is no dot, which indicates that one's prayers, one's davening, brought about the revelation and actualization of the spreading out of the dot. And that God's merciful act of restoring the essence of the Jew has now become manifest, has now become revealed. That's what we have to do. We get the essence of the soul in the morning when we wake up, and our job during the day is to spread it out until it becomes revealed. Years later, the Rebbe Rashab expanded on this explanation. He said that this prayer of Modeh ani, thank you for the soul, symbolizes the inner point of the Jewish heart. And it defines the essence of a Jew. It needs to spread out to become revealed in all the limbs of the body. And this dynamic must take place in all of us every single day. And the Rebbe Shab added that the law is that one who has not yet purified himself, you didn't wash your hands yet, you haven't done any mitzvahs, you haven't learned any Torah, and you still thank Hashem for your Jewish soul. You didn't do nothing. Hashem gives it to you as a gift. Then the prayer continues, living and existing King. Even a person who has questions, I don't believe in godliness. There's a world here. Why are you telling me this fairy tale? He has questions. He can't expand that point of Jewishness to all the limbs of a body. He has to know, even though he's blocked, he can't be separated from this essential point. He's a Yid, and Hashem gives him this Jewish soul inside of his heart. The next phrase, you have returned my soul to me, is not dependent on our choice and our desire. Hashem gives us this inner essence that we're a Yid, we're a Jew, even against our will. We didn't ask for it, we didn't deserve it. He gives it with mercy. He gives us this gift not to make things difficult, like the world says it's hard to be a Jew. Just the opposite. It comes from Hashem's unlimited grace and mercy in order to be manifest in this physical world in which the soul must dwell. And then it says, great is your trustworthiness, your faithfulness. So here we can ask the question. The person at this point has no tools. He's still unclean. He hasn't washed his hands. He has no vessels to manifest this thing. He hasn't washed his hands yet. He hasn't done any mitzvahs. He hasn't learned any Torah. So how is it he's able to thank Hashem for returning this Jewish essence? The Rebbe Shab answers that every Jew has innate faith and trust in Hashem. Like it says, the Jews are believers, the sons of believers. And from this starting point of Amunah, faith, he widens the dot until it's drawn completely into his whole being. Then, with his great faith, he reaches the first blessing prior to Shema Yisrael, in which we declare, he chose his children from among the peoples, our King who brings us close to his great name with love. And this is the lesson recounted by a Rebbe, the Rebbe Rashab, when he was 9 years old, who was the son of the Rebbe. He was the son of the Rebbe Marash. And this is the lesson a Jew has to know. He is a subject of the living and eternal King. And he's the King of the physical universe. And in his great mercy, he implanted the inner essential point in every Jew. And that King commands him, it's now time to stand and pray and know in front of whom you are standing. The world is not an empty void. There is a master of this city that we live in. There's a living and eternal King. And the function of the prayers is for the Jew to reveal that essence point into his whole existence. From where it can be further drawn to his portion in the world for which he is responsible. We are responsible for our portion in the world until the world around him is illuminated by that point of godliness. And now we're going to have a musical interlude.
Wait, Betzalel!
Yeah?
I have a question.
Yeah?
I don't like to work. If we're already born with an innate faith in us, then why do we need to work so hard to have faith?
Because no, we don't have to work to have faith. We have to work to spread out that point of faith throughout our whole body into the world. And why do we have to do it? Because that's what the King of the universe wants us to do.
Oh, I love the King of the universe.
So you want to do what he says. Oh, there's a recipe also. Should we do the recipe first or the song first? Let's do the song first.
Alright.
Sing for your supper.
Huh?
Sing for your supper. Song for the food.
You have to feed the animal first, then you feed the neshama.
Alright. It's actually an AM, by the way. Okay. sudden command, setting clouds and rainbows shine. But those raging, raging waters, these troubles that bring me to tears. But those raging, raging waters, my hopes, my dreams, my fears. But those raging, raging waters can never extinguish my love to our fathers and our mothers, eternally tied to above. Back to you, Bezalel!
In the book we've been using as an anchor for our classes, it explains that when we say Modeh Ani in the morning, when we say thank you Hashem for our soul, that's the beginning of the service of the whole day. And we're realizing we get out of bed, we jump out of bed, because we realize that the King of the universe is standing over us. He's really flowing through and through us. Like it says, don't I fill the whole world? And we're supposed to have in mind all day the idea that Hashem is with us and in front of us. So why is it just when we wake up? It's supposed to be a whole day. It means to indicate that when we are lost in the darkness and confusion of the world, we should wake up and realize that it's really only us and Hashem. And this darkness and confusion is only a test. That really what we have to do is concentrate on godliness and be connected with godliness. The question is, how is it possible? How is it practically a way that I keep in mind the whole day that I am in front of Hashem and He is in front of me, and that is really my existence? That is the spreading out of the dot. And there's the rub. How do you do it? How do I spread out that dot of the Jewish neshama that Hashem gives me? Guess what? Chassidus tells us. Here's the chronology of how it works. The creation of the world is through Hashem hiding Himself, because the world, if Hashem would reveal Himself, the world wouldn't exist. And the hiding of Hashem is very much more so in the lower worlds, where in this lower world, the sparks of good are completely submerged in the bad and the darkness. Before Adam did the sin of the tree of good of knowledge of good and evil, the light of godliness was revealed. Adam, Arishon, the first man, had the animals bow down and they praised Hashem. And if the animals sensed the nullification to the light of Hashem, how much more so the man who commanded them to bow down. But the sin caused the world to become coarse. It wasn't refined anymore to allow the light of God to shine. And it hid the light of godliness. That is the function of people. That is our function, that our godly soul should light up the dark. But the godly soul itself becomes darkened by being infused and embedded in an animal soul. Its coarseness and physicality causes the soul to be darkened. And therefore the world stays dark. God is not revealed in the world. But when the light of the godly soul shines through davening, through prayer and love and fear of Hashem, and how's that accomplished? It's accomplished through intellectual, through mental effort, in understanding godliness through Hasidus. A person thinks and he understands how everything is created and alive from Hashem. Now, even though everybody, especially a Jew, has faith that Hashem creates and enlivens the world, but that faith is not enough. There's a story in Israel, a guy robbed a bank. And he ran out of the bank, and he ran back to kiss the mezuzah. And he got captured, he got caught. The same thing, the famous story of the thief in the tunnel is digging into somebody's house, and the thief in the tunnel is praying to Hashem to make him successful. He believes in the power of Hashem. He believes there's a God, and he believes the God is with him. He's praying for success in thievery, which is actually the opposite of what Hashem wants. So therefore, faith is not enough. Our natural faith is not enough. What do we have to do? We need to use our brain to understand, and this is what we can understand. Nothing makes itself. There is nothing that exists that made itself exist. If a thing exists, it must come into existence from nothing. Because if it comes from something else, that thing that it comes from is also in existence. And even science says every effect has to have a cause. Therefore, there must be a first cause, and that first cause has to be nothing. Because if it comes from something, then that something had a cause. And there has to be a first cause, which is nothing. So logically, everything that exists comes from nothing. And since it comes new from nothing, it must be constantly brought to the state of existence by Hashem. Everything that exists is brought to its state of existence from nothing, which we proved logically that's where it has to come from, and it's brought into existence by Hashem. If that godly flow from Hashem would stop for 1 second, that thing which exists would stop existing, because it came from nothing. Like it says, in his goodness, he renews creation every day. When a person seriously uses his mind to understand this dynamic, he becomes enlivened by that understanding and realization, and not just enlivened in an intellectual way, but because the understanding is a godly topic, a godly enlivenment lights up his soul. That's what will happen. If you think through this thing and concentrate on it and spend time on it, a godly light will light up your soul. And even his physical body doesn't appear so physical anymore. Why? He realizes Hashem is bringing it into being every second. Further, after he reaches that level, he starts to think how Hashem is exalted and hidden from the creation. And at the same time, he's creating everything. which is two opposites at the same time. And further, he thinks into the greatness of Hashem, into the infinite multiplicity of the particular creations being brought into being continuously. For example, all of the different kind of vegetative matter, from fruit trees to spices to grains, and all the different kinds of vegetation. And even in each species, it's different in each country that it grows. And even in that country, each one is different from the other. Like a man has a roll of coins, and every one of those coins has a face of a man on it with 2 eyes and 2 ears and a mouth. But Hashem's roll of coins, each one is different one from the other. Like it says, how vast are your works, Hashem, and how great are your works, Hashem. And he's bringing all of this into creation every second, every instant. And through this contemplation, the soul will be aroused to run towards Hashem and want godliness very much. It will want to unify with Hashem. And that will weaken the coarse desires of the animal soul. And now we're going to have a musical interlude if the boys are ready.
Wait, Bezalel!
Yeah.
Oh, my yarmulke is... Hey, Mendel, can you fix my... Yeah, I'll fix it for you. There you go. I have a question!
Yeah?
So, if we learn... Wait, 1 second, my mouth isn't working right. Let me get the hand further up in there. Oh, that feels good. I have a question. Well, by each of us learning Chassidus, we can really bring the godly light into us, and we can see things in a totally different way, every person and puppet.
That's what the Rebbe says. That even a puppet will become a live creature.
Wow, I can be a real boy! All right, very special niggin here.
Ashrei mi shelochoto, Ashrei mi shelochoto, u'mishichoto yoshov 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 v'yimcholo, u'mishichoto yoshov 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 Ashrei mi shelochoto, Ashrei mi shelochoto, u'mishichoto yoshov 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 v'yimcholo, u'mishichoto yoshov 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 v'yimcholo. Ashrei, 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 Ashrei mi shelochoto, Ashrei, 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 Ashrei mi shelochoto,
Quiet, boy.
Bravo!
Over to you guys.
Now, before the Rebbe became Rebbe, he once gave a class to the Bachram explaining how we can learn a lesson in serving Hashem from geometry. There is a theorem in geometry which says if you take the radius of a circle, which is half of the diameter of the circle, and you connect it to points on the outside of the circle, it will come out to be exactly an exact equal hexagon. The circle will have inside of it a hexagon, which is a six-sided geometrical figure. So the Rebbe said, it's an amazing thing. You take half of the size of the circle, and you take 6 of those halves, and it fills up the circle. You would think 2 halves fills up the circle. But it's an amazing thing that you can get 6 of them out of the circle. And he said, how do we learn a lesson in serving God?
Help it, Salil.
The 6 sides of that hexagram represent the 6 days of the week. And the diameter of the circle represents Shabbos, the Holy Shabbos. So you can see how the days of the week are telescoped into the Shabbos. If you serve Hashem on the Shabbos completely, then the 6 days of the week will be complete days. And if you serve Hashem in the 6 days of the week completely, then your Shabbos will be completely complete. And now we're going to have
I love Shabbos, Mitzalel.
Yeah.
I really do. It's the only time a puppet can rest, for crying out loud.
That's a profound statement. Now we're going to have our sign-off song. Everybody ready?
We're ready.
What?
The recipe.
Oh, the recipe.
Oh, the recipe.
The recipe for tonight is gefilte fish latkes.
Ooh.
The way you make gefilte fish latkes, you take a loaf of gefilte fish. You can find it in probably in a supermarket or in your kosher store. You defrost it, and you mix it with about 5 or 6 eggs and some salt and pepper and some onions, and you make it into pancakes, and you fry them up in oil, and it's a very delicious Shabbos treat.
Well.
Now we're going to have our sign-off nigger.
Yay.
Everybody ready?
We're ready.
Gezintahait, 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 my friend.
Yeah, baby.
Remember, kids, Gezintahait.
All right, it's a wrap, boys.